Have you ever heard of the Great Migration? In 1910, 90% of Black Americans lived in the South. But come the 1970s, less than half of them did. This once agricultural labor force had transformed itself into an industrial one. Over 1 million Black Americans relocated to the North to pursue better educational opportunities, to escape widespread racial violence, and to secure for themselves higher wages. So what happened? Well, World War I happened, but equally important things happened right before that. After the Civil War came a 12-year period called Reconstruction. The nation faced two big tasks: bring the southern states back into the Union and heal the wounds of slavery. During this brief moment, Black Americans began building political power. 16 were able to serve in Congress, and over 1,500 took office across the South. But for most Black families, the wounds of slavery festered. Generations of poverty don't disappear overnight. They don't disappear in a decade. Come 1877, and once the new President Hayes withdrew federal troops from the South and granted those southern states home rule, African Americans lost crucial protection of their newfound rights. This signaled the end of Reconstruction. Without federal protection, southern states were free to govern as they so pleased without any northern oversight. And the backlash for those 12 years would be devastating. By 1880, most Black families in the South were forced into sharecropping, many of them working the very same land where they had once been enslaved. Now, sharecropping was a debt trap. Families had to buy their seeds, their tools, and their food in credit from the same white landowners that they would have to pay in crops. But come harvest time, the landowners would cook the books, claiming the crops just weren't worth enough to cover the debt. Boom! World War I kicks off in 1914, and with it, a chance to escape the South. Northern factories were desperate for workers. Their steel mills, their auto plants, and their meatpacking houses were booming. The difference in pay was staggering. $5 a day up north versus 75 cents down south if you were lucky enough to be paid. Now, you might think that white Southerners would be happy to see Black workers leave. But here's the thing. Despite the overwhelming racism, the Southern economy still depended on the free and cheap labor of Black Americans. So white Southerners did everything in their power to stop Black families from leaving. They hit Northern recruiters with massive fines. They passed laws that made it a crime to be unemployed if you were Black. They even arrested anyone who offered Black workers jobs outside of sharecropping. The one thing they never tried, treating people equally. Oh well. Despite these obstacles, Black Americans persisted, and the numbers tell the story. In 1910, 500,000 Black people worked in industry. By 1920, that number had nearly doubled. And it didn't stop there. By 1970, 6 million had made the journey north. New communities began to thrive, from Chicago's South Side to Detroit's Black Bottom. From Harlem to beyond, a great migration was underway. Now, these northern communities built more than just neighborhoods. They built power. Black workers joined unions, organized strikes, and demanded fair pay. The Great Migration wasn't just about moving north, it was about moving forward. Better jobs and stronger communities helped pave the way for something even bigger: the Civil Rights Movement. This Black History Month, the CPRE team honors the courage of those who took those first steps north, and in doing so, forged a path towards freedom for generations to come.